Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to a very cloudy Juma down in South Africa. And my name is Byron, and on camera with me this afternoon is VM, of course, as always. And we have Megan and Ashley in final control this side, and Chantal in final control in the Masai Mara. The team in the Mara will be joining us a little bit later, as usual. So what a good start. We've got some impala and what seemed like a herd of wildebeest. I'm going to try and get us a little bit closer. Let's go and see if we can get a view of that herd of wildebeest too. A lot of general game returning back onto Juma at the moment, because of all this green grass that we can see that's come out since the rains that we had recently. So it's a wonderful time of year. Things are starting to get really green again, and the wildebeest, and there we will be able to see some of them now. Here is a nice herd of wildebeest off to my right. There we go. So the impala and the wildebeest all enjoying this green vegetation at the moment. Now don't forget, everyone, we are live, so please send us your questions and your comments. Hashtag Safari Live is how you do it, via Twitter. We always enjoy hearing from our viewers, and we'll see if we can answer your questions for you this afternoon. I'm sure we will be able to. See, and it is, as I said, still very overcast and a bit chilly. Today it's about 72 degrees Fahrenheit, somewhere around there, and about 20 or 22 degrees Celsius. So fairly cool. So there might be some predator movement a little bit later. We'll see what we can find. But I think this afternoon, my main mission is going to be to find an elephant. Now, there was actually an elephant right outside camp. It's disappeared, but we've seen the tracks, and so I'm going to try my best to see if we can find it this afternoon. So let's see. But in the meantime, Jamie is out in the Mara, and she has a beautiful cat she would like to show you.
I would love to show you, and in fact, even more than that, I would really love to introduce you to this lovely cat. Yes, perfect timing, girl, perfect. Well done. This is Imani, and I'll tell you a little bit more about her family tree in a little bit, but first an introduction before I blow away. Along with Jahawi, my name is Jamie, and this afternoon Jahawi is on camera with me, and we were fine. We have put the roof up and down about 5 times today. Go away! Oh my gosh, I feel like I'm blowing away. I'm sorry about this. I'm sure that wind sounds pretty bad as well. You're live from the Masai Mara here in Kenya, so you've been introduced to Byron, who's in South Africa. I am in the Masai Mara, and I'm sitting with this gorgeous young lady. And I say young lady, so you've got to know Imani's daughters over the course of the last few months. Those 2 young females that we see every now and again around Musiara Marsh and around Double Crossing. This is their big sister, Imani, not Amani. So Imani with an I, her mother is Amani with an A. Amani meaning peace, Imani meaning faith, which is a really lovely choice of names, I think. So the lovely Imani, whose brother is Hoduri, and who is around about 5 years old, is I think she's the most intriguing cheetah I have ever encountered. This earlier today when we found her, first of all, I found her thanks to the guinea fowl alarm calling right next to us in the lugger. Now bear in mind, we've been searching all morning for cheetah, and we really were, to say we were having a miserable time is an overstatement, because, you know, not that miserable in the Mara. Oh, but it's getting there. I have to turn around, I'm sorry. I have to put my back to the wind. Oh, there goes my hat. There goes my microphone. Okay, a bit better. So I need to put the rain covers down. So I'll tell you more about how lovely Imani has been this afternoon. Now I'm getting confused. I'm going to send you over to Scott, who, no, I'm not. I'm going to change my mind, and I'm not going to link to who I was going to link to. Instead, we're going to watch Imani go for a little stroll, and I'll tell you a little bit about what she did. So when we first encountered her, first of all, the guinea fowl were alarm calling, and I swear she was playing with them. She was darting backwards and forwards. Then she came right next to us, and she hunted a rock. It was the strangest thing I've ever seen. It was almost like she was playing with us. And she got all playful and her tail thrashing, and then she jumped forward and grabbed a rock, which maybe she thought was a baby Thompson's gazelle, and I'll explain that reference in a moment, but I don't think so. I think she knew it was a rock and she was just playing. And since then, she's kept us thoroughly entertained. Up, down, sudden jog back in a different direction. She's really kept us guessing. But the final moment came just about an hour ago, where she was hunting some Thompson's gazelle, and I really thought she was, oh, look at the Senegal lapwings going for her. I really thought she'd messed it up, because all of the adult Thompsons were dashing away from her for about the 5th time in a row. And then she sat down, to my utter shame, I thought was a pile of elephant dung. It turned out to be a baby Thompson's gazelle, and I got such a fright when she batted it gently. And this poor little thing had obviously been sitting there shaking in terror, and it jumped out and dashed away. Shame, unfortunately, didn't make it. But Imani did have a really good meal, so she's now got a nice full belly, where before she was looking a bit empty. Okay, let's catch up with her. I think we can do it. We're not getting too wet back there, are we, Jahawi? No. We're okay here. Okay. Now, this time I'm not playing around. This time around, I can send you over to Mr. Scott Dyson, who I know is a little bit of fear of missing out and a little bit sort of wishing he was on this side of the river, but let's go and find out if the triangle is keeping him well entertained.
Well, yes, it must be said that I am quite envious of Jamie and Brent and all of the action that has been unfolding with them and various cheetah on the Mara Reserve side of this wonderful ecosystem. We are on the opposite side of the river in the Mara Triangle, and we are searching for the sausage tree pride that some of you may have seen with Taylor on the Sunrise Safari. My name's Scott, and I'm teamed up with Seb on camera today. Looking forward to the afternoon's adventure. Firstly, we need to find the lion. They were somewhere in this general area, according to Taylor. The reason why he actually didn't come to me earlier was because I was trying to phone Taylor to get better directions as to where exactly they were. And as soon as I heard that you were coming to us, I told her I needed to go urgently, so I haven't actually got the finer details yet. I just know it's somewhere in this general area. We're going to carry on and try ourselves and see if we don't get lucky. And I mean, it's quite an open area, so unless they've moved, which there's a chance of, I'm told they were quite hungry. They tried to stalk a warthog this morning. So some good prospects. And like I say, how awesome is it that Jamie and Brent have had such a successful few days with some incredible cheetah action on the other side of the river. I fear I may not actually make it back across there before I take a short break. I'm heading off on the 24th for about a week. I'm very excited. I've got an epic adventure lined up. I'm going to a national park in Kenya called the Aberdares, A-B-E-R-D-A-R-E-S, Aberdares. And it's an incredible ecosystem with some very, very high altitude kind of alpine vegetation and a bamboo belt that surrounds that high mountain. And below that they've got an area called the Salient, which is like a lower lying, almost jungle-like area. So a diverse amounts of wildlife that you get there, and one of the most exciting things that you can see there is a melanistic serval. There's quite a few of them, pitch black servals, as well as melanistic genets and leopard if you're very lucky. The latter two I have yet to be lucky enough to see. Very good. We are going to keep working this area. I'm probably going to call Taylor back for an update as to exactly where she left them, so we can make sure they're not still snoozing there. And while I try and work out the whereabouts of the sausage tree pride, we are going to be sending you down south back to Mr. Byron.
Well, Well, I hope Scott has some luck with the lions this afternoon. We unfortunately haven't had much luck with lions on Juma the last little while. I know some of you saying we're having a bit of withdrawal symptoms. We have had withdrawal symptoms, definitely. Now, the Nkahuma pride that we see regularly here have been down on Londolozi, in fact. They moved down there and they killed a giraffe, and they were down there for a while. I think they were moving back up in this direction, but I think they're probably on Arathusa at the moment. So hopefully in the next few days they decide to pass by again. Maybe we get to see them. I think the Styx Pride this morning, they were right down on the Mala boundary with Cheetah Plains, and so right down in the south. So no lions in this area for us, unfortunately. Now, this morning there were just a few questions about this tree. We saw a beautiful pale form Wahlberg's eagle up in this tree. And Judy H, I hope you are watching now. You were asking about this tree. It is definitely a marula, but it was causing a bit of confusion for some of you when you just saw the branches, because if you look closely, there are little leaves that have started coming out, and you see those. Look there, it's already starting fruiting. It's fruiting at the moment. You can see the little fruits that have just started on the marula, but those leaves are still very, very small. And I think that's why it caused a bit of confusion. Some buds coming out there too, flowers, but it is definitely a marula. Interesting to see it in this early stage of it flowering and the leaves and fruit starting. So that does create a bit of confusion. But Judy H, hopefully this has put your mind at ease. It is definitely a marula that it was sitting in. But interesting to see this early stage of a marula before the fruit and the leaves are all out. So we can actually see at the moment, we've seen some that are still completely bare, some that have got big green leaves on already, and some in this early stage of flowering and getting leaves. Now, I'm going to carry on looking for that elephant. There was a big bull elephant that was moving around, so I'm hoping we get to find him this afternoon first, and then we'll try for some other animals. Who knows, maybe a leopard if we're lucky. With this cooler weather, chances are some of the big cats might be moving around. But you never know. Yesterday we found a young male leopard. He was lying down, didn't move until late in the afternoon. It was a bit cooler, but this weather can potentially get them to move around. Alright, we're going to continue our elephant search. Let's go back across to Jamie, who's apparently got some interesting lapwings she'd like to show you.
I have more Senegal lapwings than I've ever seen in my life, and it's the most extraordinary sighting. So an eagle swooped in to pick up the scraps of that little Thompson's that Imani didn't get. And just look at them all go. I know the wind is howling, but maybe we can try and listen to them the next time they fly over. They are furious. Can you hear them there, Chantal? Or are they too soft? I'm not sure. But I'm relatively certain these are Senegal lapwings. The only other lapwing that you could confuse them with is the black-winged lapwing. And those tend to be quite a bit larger. Oh, look at that! Sheer courage. Those tend to be quite a bit larger than the Senegals, or at least stockier. That is very difficult to tell the difference between them, but I've never seen a group like this. Look, there they go, off again. Absolutely furious that this eagle dares to enter their territory. And at first they were focused on Imani, and I will go back to her because she hasn't been left alone either. It's just quite extraordinary to witness. Look at them dive bombing. And of course all of us, certainly South Africans, I imagine it's been the same in Kenya as well, all of us have had that experience where as children we were walking across a sports field, because lapwings love these open spaces, and all of a sudden they would start to dive bomb you, and occasionally, on rare occasions, actually take chunks out of your head if you weren't careful, especially the crowned lapwings. But I've never seen numbers of Senegals do this. Really very cool. Okay, let's go back to Imani. Oh goodness, I'm sorry. I keep doing this. Imani. It's going to get very confusing. Because unfortunately, I can't spend the entire afternoon with her. I've got a long way to go. All of the best way to ID Cheetah. Hold on, I'll show you right now. Now, Imani's useful because she's actually got a scar right up where her back left leg joins her belly. She's got a scar from an old wound that was exceptionally large and painful looking. And I'll show you a picture now. I've been chatting to Femke at the Mara Cheetah project. I'll show you a picture of the injury, and the way that it's healed is astounding. You can barely even see there's a scar. But something like that, or the scars, you've got to be careful with because they do heal up and they do become less noticeable in time. The best way is to look at their spot patterns. And what I find helps me personally, and I've done a lot of sifting through camera trap pictures, identifying individual cheetah, what I find works best for me is to find really clear, prominent spot patterns. So if we look at her from this angle, and she really is lovely, isn't she? Now I could get closer to her, but I'm not going to. I'll let her choose when to come to me. Give her plenty of space. Okay, so if we look at her now, to me, what would I look for specifically in a picture? Can we zoom in a little tighter on her shoulder maybe? I find the shoulders, thank you. Thanks so much, Jahawi. I find that the shoulders and the sides tend to be the ones that I find the most noticeable. With Cheetah, I've never really worked with face spots before. You can, but it's not as easy as it is with leopards. Oh, she's stunning, isn't she? And those dark tear tracks. Oh, girl, it's like you knew we were trying to look at you. Basically what you've got to look for is prominent groupings of spots. So let's say often what I find easiest is a couple of spots joined together in cheetahs. I can't see any immediately on her. Oh, there's two of them there before she flopped back down again. So those are the sorts of things that you'd angle for on a cheetah. Left and right profile sides are the standard way, and then you just compare spot patterns, because just like leopards, each and every single cheetah has an individual spot pattern that stays the same for their entire lives. I think she's lovely. She's quite a young cheetah, born either in the middle of 2012 or early 2013, somewhere around there. So she's around about 5. Pretty girl. Okay, we're going to spend just a little bit longer with her, but I know Brent has also had exceptional success with Cheetah on this side of the river. Let's go and find out what he's got planned for your afternoon.
Well, we've been dodging rainstorms, and unfortunately there's another massive one heading straight towards us. You can see that dark sky. Now, we have had phenomenal success. Jamie is spot on, but I'll tell you a bit more about that shortly. We've been spending most of our time with Malika, a female cheetah, and her 2 young boys. But my name is Brent Smith. I have Craig, aka the Batman, on camera, and we have been very lucky. It seems Malika has got a strategy of hunting in the middle of the day, and she successfully took down a sub-adult wildebeest during the middle of the day today. Now, while we were watching her in the distance, I saw a male cheetah, a single male cheetah, but we're so focused on following Malika that we didn't shoot off there. Now, he wasn't far away, probably about 2 kilometers. I just saw him cruising across a ridge, so I'm going to go check along here and see if he is around. Hopefully he is. He apparently was very hungry. I saw a car who saw him. Other than that, I spotted some lions on my way home from Malika. We might pop past there, see what they're doing, see which pride it is. I'm pretty sure it's members of the Silas Breakaway Pride, which is 2 or 3 young males, 2 young females, and 2 adult females. Sorry. Oh, where are my binoculars gone? Now, as I say, the wildebeest are still all around here. Binoculars. And the problem is you have to carry so much stuff. See, there's a cloth for cleaning, there's a shuka for warmth, there's a spotlight there, the binoculars. Now, remember, if you have any questions for us, hashtag Safari Live. It is not anything. It is a stunt. Now, also, one thing I do like about this little hill up in front of us, it's called Survey Hill. and I'm going to show it to you now because it almost looks like it's been man-made. The rocks have been piled there. However, it hasn't. It is actually a natural rock formation, and there's often a very relaxed, beautiful big black rhino bull that hangs around, likes to snooze around this hill. Okay. We are in the golden light at the moment, but as you can see, that really dark sky ahead. It's my good friends there. Is it? Yes, it is. It's some of the rangers who travel with us. Habari, habari! Yachini? Bado? Mbili? I saw Malakash, yeah. Close by? Just on the main road? Okay, I'll still go have a look. On the main road?
Not on the main road. On the truck going to Bajileche.
Yeah. Asante sana. Bahati sana. So there we go. Seems like that other cheetah might have made a kill already. So I'm very interested to see who it is. I'm not sure who it is. So we will go have a look. But as I said, I promised to show you the top of Survey Hill. Now the lions also quite like this area around Survey Hill, but there it is. It almost looks like someone piled a bunch of stones up there, but it is not. It is actually a natural rock formation. Isn't that incredible? Okay, I need to go through some luggers to get towards that area where that other cheetah apparently is. So let's go have a look-see. Ooh, the rain's still a reasonable distance away. Hopefully it stays that way for the rest of our evening out. Okay, so while we go search for another cheetah today, let's go across to Jamie, who's still with the gorgeous Imani.
I'm with Imani. And every time I try and get a shot of her face, she rolls over. You know when you just really, I don't know, it's not often that this happens to me because most of the time our connection with the animals builds over time spent. But I have to say, I really, really enjoy this cheetah. I think it was just the playful mood that she was in, and the way that she was hopping, skipping, and jumping everywhere. And I don't know, she's a special thing. I really, really like this girl. It just might have been the mood that she was in, but either way, it has cemented her with the lovely cheetahs that I used to work with long ago. Naledi was one of my favorites. That was many years ago, and she really is lovely. So Imani, I look forward to watching you, girl. I suspect, I've seen a lot of posts recently, because I did some research into her, obviously from when I first found her, and I've seen some posts saying that she's pregnant. When I first saw her, I didn't see any major signs of pregnancy. She didn't, to me, look particularly large. In fact, she looked quite thin. But apparently, people have been saying since last month already that she's pregnant. I don't see any sign of suckle marks, so I don't think she has any cubs. Not yet. But I didn't see any signs of late pregnancy. Maybe she's pregnant in the very early stages. Now she's got a belly full of baby Thompson's gazelle, so that definitely changes things. Aya, you've had perhaps you haven't actually. Perhaps you've had the opportunity to spend some time with Malika and her two boys, and I've already told you about Imani and her two younger girls that we've seen regularly. Now you want to know about how long the cheetah cubs will stay with their mothers. So it will be well over a year, and I think in a way quite similar to leopards. There's a difference between males and females. Oh no, here we go. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, where did you come from? Kori, I'm sorry. Hold that thought. I will answer you. I've got to turn my back immediately. Sorry, girl. Sorry, everyone. It's a monkey's wedding. It's beautiful. It's really beautiful. But it's also quite damp, and we really urgently need to put the covers down. Right now. Right now. And she wants... Do you want to come and seek cover here, girl? Chantal, those comms went to me. Oh, there we go. You're going to have somebody very unprepared. Our new system is the best. It's really awesome. Okay, we need to get everything covered up. We're going to send you back across to Scotty D, who I think has found some lions.
Well, we are still lucky here for now. We don't have to cover up just yet. Jamie's quite a way off, and as you can see, we have got lucky. And we have found the sausage tree pride, aka the sausages. 2 lioness. And there's supposed to be 4 cubs. Yeah, there are 4 there. And not easy to see from here, one of which is a little bit paler than the other 3. That's the one kind of in the middle at the back. So that one's easy to distinguish between the others. And they are all quite hungry. Now, let me show you where they came from this morning, over to our left. They came from up on the escarpment when Taylor found them. And there's a big rock where people have picnics from time to time. They came past that picnic rock, which is over there. You can see a little white skull glistening. I think that's a buffalo skull. There we go. Thanks, Seb, with the punch zoom. Zoom. And they walk down there and then all the way down the hill through this open plain to where we are here now. And Taylor left them about midway between that rock and where we are at the moment. And as you can see, they're already looking quite alert, and it's possibly their empty bellies that are causing them to wake up possibly a little bit earlier than they ordinarily would had they a full stomach. Now, as she is scanning around, I so too have done the same thing already. And sadly for these ladies and their babies, they are going to have to walk a long way to get to the restaurant this evening, because there's absolutely no prey in the immediate area that I can see. Of course, there could be something small behind a bush, but for now, it looks like it's going to be a tricky afternoon for them in getting their next meal. But again, that could change at any moment, and hopefully if they do get up and moving, it won't take them long to find something to try and get for dinner. For now, though, we're going to be sending you to an animal and Byron who doesn't have such a hard time getting its meals.
Oh, look, we've found what we were looking for. I'm so excited and happy because we haven't seen an elephant in a long time. Now we managed to find a nice bull just wandering through by himself. Hold on, we're going to get a nice view of him, I'm sure. Just up ahead. He's moving quite quickly. There we go. Probably through there, Vim. Is that okay? There he goes. A nice elephant bull, but he's moving very, very quickly. He hasn't stopped to feed once. Not sure if he's possibly smelling or looking for females, but he hasn't stopped moving. Interesting. Normally the elephant do stop and feed quite regularly, but sometimes these bulls, they are moving around. They may cover quite a large distance fairly quickly. You can see how easily he blends into this dry vegetation at the moment. I'll try to get another view of him. Hold on. Isn't it great to see an elephant again? We haven't seen elephant. It's so funny. When you have days or a week where we don't see elephant, we start panicking. We think, oh, where have all the elephant gone? I think they're all feeding on mapani trees further north. but we will get a nice view of him. Hold on, I'm just going to reposition around here, and then we'll be able to see this bull, probably get him walking towards us. Hold on, through here, Viam. That's a nice little view, just through the trees, straight through here. There he goes. Wonderful. Now, all of you know how much I enjoy seeing elephant, and especially these bulls that wander around. Definitely one of my favorite animals. I love spending time with the elephant. But this one does not appear as if he's going to stick around. Paula, you say he must stop being so shy. I agree. It's almost like he doesn't want to be filmed this afternoon. He's walking very quickly, and if he carries on like this, he's going to cross out of Juma fairly soon. Now it's interesting, this elephant. So as I was saying, it's quite interesting. This elephant was actually spotted by Ali and Jared earlier this afternoon outside camp, and we saw his tracks, but he hung around for a while, and then he just decided it was now time to move out of the area, and he's covered a big distance in a short space of time, so he's decided to stop feeding and just move. Now, Aiden, age 6. Good afternoon, Aiden. Hope you're enjoying Safari Live with us today. You asked why do the elephants, and look at that, he's actually, sorry Aiden, see how he's rubbing his trunk in the ground. Elephants do that from time to time. Occasionally they'll pick up sand and they throw sand on their bodies, and this is linked to your question, Aiden. You asked why do the elephants bathe in mud. Now the reason for that, and that behavior with the sand, is to protect the skin. Now usually in summer when it gets very, very hot, the elephant like to pick up mud and water, and they splash it over their bodies. Helps protect their skin and helps cool them down. Also keep some of the bugs off of them. As we know, the oxpeckers don't sit on elephants, so the way they generally keep bugs and ticks off of them, okay, one, they've got a very thick hide or skin, but also all the mud and dust that they throw on their bodies. Now that elephant is still moving very quickly. Let's see if we can keep up with him. I just don't know what our signal is going to be like in this area, but we'll see if we can get another quick view of him. But nice to see him moving through. So Aiden, I suppose it's like if you, on a hot day, if you wanted to swim to cool down, that's basically similar scenario with the elephant. So splashing mud and water on their bodies cools them down, and also that mud forms a bit of a layer on their skin which protects them from the sun, so may keep them a bit cooler for longer. There's some other vehicles around too that have come to see this elephant because they haven't seen elephant either for quite some time. So I'm sure they're very happy that we got to see one. Okay, well, let me see if I can get another view of this elephant before he moves. But while we try and reposition and get around him, let's go back to Scott, and he has got some lions. Let's see what they're up to.
We do have some lions, and I have a mouthful of macadamia nuts mixed with peanuts, roasted and lightly salted, very delicious. That's what's going on. Would you like to take a closer look? That is a perfectly roasted batch of macadamia nuts and peanuts. Peanuts still have their skin on, which is good roughage, I'm told. Now, I think what would make the most sense is for us to head off, see if we can't find any predators with a little bit more prey possibly nearby, because there's absolutely nothing around them. And just see if there's any other action that's unfolding. It is World Reptile Day, of course, as you're all aware, and maybe we could find a big python slithering through one of the swampy marshes. or anything really, but I just don't feel that our time is going to be well spent here, because even if they do get up and start moving, they're going to have quite a distance to cover before they get to any food. So let's rather give them some time to think about things and for some prey to possibly wander into this area. And we're going to head probably all the way around along the escarpment road and then drop onto the lower river road, which takes us along the Mara River. There's been quite a lot of good action along there as a general rule, so who knows, maybe we might be able to find Scar and the Paradise Pride. I haven't been able to spend much time with him, sadly, so that would be a bonus. Who knows, maybe a cheetah may pop onto the scene. Anything is really possible. She's got her head up again, but I think it's just a precautionary check for the time being that there's nothing around, which I can confirm. It might be worth double checking. There's nothing creeping up here. Hello, young Aiden, just 6 years old. It's very good to have you on safari with us. And you would like to know, why do young cubs sometimes climb all over their mothers? And I guess the answer to that is because they love them. And just like you might run up to your mom or your dad and give them a big hug if you haven't seen them for a while, or even if you just feel like a hug, you'll do that. And lions are the same. They're affectionate. They love their parents and their brothers and their sisters. I guess sometimes, just like us as humans, you sometimes have a fight with your mom or your brother or your sister, but that's not too often. Usually it's around food for animals. For you it might be over something else like toys, I don't know. But as a general rule, they love their family just like we as humans do, and climbing all over their mothers gives them a sense of good feeling, or it makes them feel good about themselves, and it also, I guess, is just a little bit of fun. Good to have you with us, Aiden. And if I do head off now, which I think I'm going to do in the next few minutes, what animal would you like us to find you? Why don't you let us know, so I've got a plan at least for once I head off from here. I've got a goal to work towards. Would you like to see some elephants, or maybe a giraffe? A leopard? You can add that to your list. It's going to be tricky though. Byron would be a better person to ask to find a leopard. He's in an area where it's a lot easier to find leopards than it is here. Very good. Well, let me close up the nuts and then head on out. Just making sure we're not going to crash into the vehicle behind us, but I think I'll be able to make it work. Bye-bye, lions. We'll maybe see you later. If not, have a good night. Catch a buffalo. Alrighty. Jumbo Sana. Habari ya safari. Some tourists snuck in behind us and are also enjoying that lion sighting. Who knows, maybe it's the first time they've ever seen lion. It's always wonderful to see how excited guests get when they're seeing or arriving in various sightings. You see people getting their cameras and taking photographs before the vehicle's even stopped. It's quite good humor, actually. Hello, Kathy and Fiona. Thank you for letting me know what you would like us to go and look for. And it seems to be giraffe is high up on the menu. Of course, I am going to have to take both your request as well as Aiden's into account, but we can have a long list. We can have a wish list. So for now, giraffe are at the top of that wish list. Very good. Okay, now Izzy's just asked to see an elephant or a secretary bird, and we actually just saw some secretary birds in one of these trees. I've lost track of which tree it was. Let me see if I can find them for you. It's going to be tricky, but it'll be fun, because what happened was I thought one adult secretary bird was feeding a chick in a nest. I saw it kind of like bending down into the nest on the top of one of the balanites trees off to our left. But then I realized that it was just actually going to bed. So, I mean, maybe it's quite an early time to bunker down. Seb, let's try the tree on the right first. I think that one. That's just breaking the horizon. The next one to the right. We'll start with that one. I don't think it's that one. I think it's the one just off to the right of that. Over there. Oof. Now we might only just be able to see their heads poking out the top of the tree because their nest is right on top. But I don't think our angle is right here. I think that is the right tree though. But once they lay down on their nest, it's very difficult to actually see them. So secretary birds are going to be tricky. I think it's Izzy you would like to see those. But you have also chosen elephants. So elephants are very doable. They're not going to be asleep yet. Pretty good. So yeah, quite interesting. I was surprised to see the secretary birds going to sleep so early. Maybe they've had a productive day, feeding on a variety of prey. I think it's mainly insects that we've seen them hunting here so far. But every now and then they get lucky and find a big meal, like a snake, which I'm told they're expert killers of. I've yet to see it happen though. It's a beautiful afternoon, not much wind, quite cool. It's been a great day. It's been nice and cool. We actually woke up with rain this morning, which was unique. Usually it's quite sunny in the mornings, and the rains tend to come in the afternoons. But we had a bit of constant kind of pitter-patter all of last night into the morning. Okay, well, you'll be glad to know that Brent is back in signal, and he's found some lions as well as something else. I don't know what that something else is exactly, so why don't you rush off and see what's going on?
Welcome, and we have not gone what we were looking for. And I had a bit of more of a discussion with someone else. It sounds like the cheetah they were talking about was the same cheetah Jamie's with. So I came looking through this area where I saw the male this morning, and lo and behold, we have some lazy, fat, flat cats. That is the Sala's breakaway with those young boys. And they look like they've been having a very successful end of migration season with those fat bellies, and still lots of wildebeest all around them. The wildies are quite spread at the moment. Let's go a little bit closer. Now, that cheetah we saw, Malika is in the next valley when we left her after she killed that young wildebeest. So that male cheetah could be anywhere around this area. Obviously, you'd be trying to avoid this lot. Actually, I'm not sure if it's a Silas breakaways. It's not. This is 4 young males. And I'm trying to remember. No, actually, I think they did have 4 young males. But where's your mom and your sisters? Are they sleeping on the next termite mound? Not that I can see. Maybe these boys have become independent, a little young. Kira is wondering how safe are we from the lions. We're about 10 feet or so from the lions. We're quite safe, don't worry, Kira. They don't see the vehicle as a potential prey or a potential threat. So if you drive carefully, considerately around them and you don't harass them with the car, as you can see, they just keep on sleeping. Now, however, if I was to stand up, they might recognize my bipedal figure, which is the dominant diurnal predator. And in most of those cases, they would actually run away, especially young boys like this who are going to try avoid conflict at all costs. Now, let me find my binoculars here quickly. Have a quick look around. Paula is wondering, how much sleep do lions need? Paula, well, they on average will sleep about 20 hours a day. If they're full like this, they can actually sleep for longer than that. And they have quite a slow metabolism, and when they're digesting their meals, it creates quite a bit of heat, and so they need to rest to make sure they don't get too hot. Hello, boys. Oh, you guys look very comfy. And my favorite are the two on the left there. You can see those ones are completely flat. And the two on the left are sort of intertwined, lying on top of each other. One paw between the two front legs, his paw on top of his head, and there's a loose tail from the other one laying across. And a lovely cool breeze starting, thankfully for us. Try and keep the flies away. Reed, he says, lions sleeping look like a soft and cuddly bed. Well, a smelly, soft, cuddly bed with fleas and ticks, maybe. So lions are very, very smelly creatures. Of course, they will eat absolutely rotting meat. Oh, well, someone's popped his head up. Oh, no, there's no wildebeest around. Go back to sleep. Yes, there we go. Good boy. They all look very well fed at the moment. Oh, there was one giving himself a hug. Tough day, needing to hug himself. It doesn't mean these guys aren't going to move. I think the most likely thing is probably after dark they might meander on and go have a drink somewhere. I'm just having a quick glance across the hills, seeing if I can spot any sign of that lone cheetah while we're sitting with our sleepy lions. Nope, not at the moment. They do look very, very comfy. And I say, I don't think they're going to do anything else for the next few hours, so our adventure will continue. On the ridge there, past and see if Malika and the boys have finished absolutely everything, which is possible. Or it might have been stolen from them. Okay. It is quite chilly. There's a cold wind. Bye, fellas. So, unfortunately, also in this area, sometimes we do get a little bit of comms break. So I know I'm linking, but I don't know who I'm linking to. So, bye.
Okay, well, Brent, it's me that you're linking to. Now, we've come into an area not far from Twin Dams because someone said, one of the other guys said it sounded like he heard baboons alarm calling around here. So I've just stopped to listen. Maybe we hear some alarm calls. I can't hear anything at the moment. A lot of you know, I keep saying this, how important it is to stop and listen in the bush. You don't just rely on your eyes to find animals, but listening to other animals calling or alarm calling. Perhaps you even hear the predators doing territorial calls, if you are looking for predators. But it just helps find certain animals too. I often stop and listen and just see if we can't hear anything that might help us find what we're looking for. The weather seems to be changing a bit too. I'm not sure if we're going to get rain. It looks like, and we can feel a few little drops. I hope it stays away just until after drive. Then it can rain all at once. But for now, it would be great if it just holds off. I can't hear anything. Let's carry on driving down. just listening to the radio quickly, trying to get an update from some of the other guides. Put our roof on. We'll have to make a decision about that soon. I think let's go across to Jamie and see what she is up to and where she is at the moment.
I'm about to go through a crossing, and by some fantastic moment I managed to actually touch my earpiece connection and the comms came back as Chantal said that, so I'm actually quite impressed with our timing. So what we are doing at the present moment is we are trying to find a way across this little stream for a change. You know, just for a change. And I can't... Oh, that was a bit of a hole, bit of a clunk. I can't quite find it, but I know that other vehicles crossed it this morning because that's where they went to help the guy who was stuck. And I could have sworn that they went... that they went through somewhere here. Ah, ooh. Alright. I don't really want to get stuck live. Why don't I see any tire tracks? I don't see any tire tracks. It's making me nervous. No, something not right here. Woo. No. No tire tracks. I'm not experimenting today. I refuse until somebody else gets stuck. Now, of course, the person who knows this area better than any of us is Scott, but he's currently driving on a much more pleasant road.
Yes, I'm on a very pleasant road here, in an area that Jamie probably knows a lot better than me. I've spent more time across there and her more time across here. So it's great for them to be spending more time across there. And yeah, at the moment not so great that I'm spending so much time here. We're finding it quite tricky on this side of the river at the moment, with so much action unfolding in other areas, but we like to just base one vehicle here so it can be worked on for a few days while the other two vehicles go out on rotation. Anyway, we're learning as we go. This is our first season here, and I think by the time our crew has spent a year here, we'll be far more in tune of what to do and how to do it and how to be more flexible with spending more times where the action is, setting up more agreements with various camps where we can base ourselves. It's such a huge area that to stay at our camp and traverse to where the action is could take you an hour and a half to 2 hours and back, which wouldn't be very sustainable. It's incredible to believe how many animals were in these areas just a few weeks ago. It was absolute madness. And it must be said, I am already beginning to miss the migrating herds, even though there are still a few lingering around towards the south. Hello, Mohammed. You have asked a question that is going to be quite tricky for a man of my vocabulary to describe very well. You would like to know, what is the main smell in the Masai Mara? And at the moment, it's just a very fresh, crisp, kind of natural smell. A little bit muddy, I guess, when you're driving along some slushy roads, but it's incredibly crisp and clear at the moment, not as dusty as it was a few weeks ago. And I remember our Nat Geo friends that were out a few weeks ago, or about a week ago. I just remember them breathing in this air as much as they could, saying how much better it was than the air in DC, and how beautiful and fresh and crisp it is. But I wouldn't say there's a very distinctive smell. I don't know. Seb? It's incredibly beautiful, fresh, crisp, clean air, though, as a general rule. Yes, sometimes Seb says you get a bit of a dung smell. If you're very unlucky, it means you've driven through a predator's poop. And that is the worst kind of poop to drive through, because it stinks and it gets caught in the little ruts in your tires. So it stays with you. Yeah, it follows you for the whole safari until you get back and wash the car. So you don't want to drive through any lion poop. Yes, Mohammed, sadly one thing that will always be very difficult for us to simulate or make you guys feel are the smells here, and that is something I guess you may have to make the journey for. A lot of what we do is actually better viewed at home than it would actually be here. A few examples of which are kind of birds or zooming into things. Sometimes even when I'm looking down at my little monitor below me so I know what to narrate when Seb's moved off onto the subject, isn't nearly as clear and big and effective as the screens you may be watching on. So you guys often actually are getting better visuals than both of us are getting here, sitting here. Seb's even worse than me. He's got a tiny monitor on a camera that's many years old, and I'm not even sure if the monitor can be seen. It's just scratched to pieces. So the views you guys get back home are often actually better than the views you'd be getting if you're sitting in this vehicle. Sounds can be tricky. Sometimes it's good, sometimes you don't hear anything, but smell, of course, is going to be something very, very tricky for us. For us to broad or convey to you. Chantal, you're going to have to spell this name out for me. It's making zero sense. Doesn't matter how slowly you read it out to me. Hasmuch. There we go. Thank you, Chantal. Some names are very difficult to make out if they are not David or John or Rob. And even Rob could be confused with Bob. But Pasmuch, you would like to know, why is this area so open with very few trees? And it's the nature of the soil mainly that dictates the vegetation that grows in it. And the soil's called black cotton soil, so it has quite a bonsaiing effect, you could say. It expands and contracts and expands and contracts, which can put a pressure on quite a lot of trees' roots, which makes them grow slowly. And I guess the trees that grow slowly often get eaten by the elephants. And yeah, it just seems like the perfect environment for grass to grow. And that's obviously a combination of the rainfall of the area, the soil makeup. But you do get an area like this that we're going through with hundreds of balanites trees, which create beautiful scenes. Well, Mohammed, you're going to be glad to know that you're going across to somebody who's far more eloquent than me and will probably far better be able to describe the smells of the Mara. So why don't you go and hear what Jamie has to say about the matter?
You say that, Scott. I don't quite. I've forgotten what you were talking about. Something to do with flat and trees. Flat and trees. I think that was the essence of what Scott was chatting about. I was just busy patting myself on the back for not getting stuck, because I really feel like I've conquered this valley. I now know it. The Bermuda Triangle of the Mara. Never speak too soon. I could easily still get stuck there now, but I won't get lost and I won't get confused. So this whole area, everything the light touches. Speaking of flats and no trees, I think I got it now. This combination of valleys, roads and river crossings. I think we got it. So last time you saw me, I was all the way on the opposite side of not this drainage line, but the other drainage line, trying to get through there. We made it. It was easy. Then we've just come through that big crossing over there when Chantal was telling me what Scott was chatting about, which is why I wasn't really listening. Unfortunately, sorry, Chantal. And this whole valley is the area that the musketeers, or the 5 male cheetah, really enjoy. And just across to the, what's the opposite of west? East of me, there is Balloon Crossing. And I feel like I understand the way that the series of river networks work together and join up, and where they all come from and how it all goes. And I think we've almost pushed the limits of what's crossable and what's not. There were a few where we turned around and we thought, oh, we could do that one. Okay, wait, sorry, that's really pretty. There were a few where we nearly gave it a go, and then I got cold feet at the last moment. There's no surprise I've got cold feet, because this time I forgot to bring shoes. Last time it was mattresses, this time it's shoes. Pretty, huh? Everything the light touches, and all that. Okay, so here's what we're doing to explain the whole sort of logistics of the situation. So I've been out all day with Imani, which means I don't have a ranger with me, which means I can't stay out past 6:30. So what I'm doing is I'm trying I also haven't been able to contact them to let them know that I wasn't going to make it back to pick them up. So what that means is that I've got to race back to Talek Gate, pick up our ranger, and then we'll be back up and running. Logistically, it's just one of those things, and we were quite far away when we were with Imani. This time I really was listening, but I didn't quite catch it. But I'm linking to somebody with something somewhere.
Well, what do we have? I don't know. We have some glorious light. But what else do we have? We have some very fat, happy kitty cats. Hi, guys. Seems like it was a few hours ago I was sitting with you. Oh, it was indeed. Here we go. Fat and happy Malika and the boys. Look at those bulging bellies. It looks like they managed to eat the majority of that kill without losing it. Now, we're not far from where we left them, probably 300 meters or so, and the remnants of their kill are being squabbled over by a marauding horde of vultures. And it doesn't even look like much squabbling left. I think there's probably almost absolutely zilch left, even for the vultures. Maybe some bones for the hyenas. But that's that of that poor young wildebeest. So we just decided to come check. Now, with cheetah's very fast metabolism, with there being 3 of them, ooh, now we were just talking about birds and flapping things, but Jamie's got one that shouldn't be able to take off and one that can't.
Perfect description. The one that shouldn't be able to take off on the right, and the one that absolutely cannot take off is poking its bottom up towards us as if to object to that description. But there we go, the largest bird in the world and the heaviest flying bird in the world, all in one shot. And we've got the ostrich, of course, and the Kori bustard. And it really gives you an idea, although now the perspective is slightly skewed, but it does give you an idea of just how massive a Kori bustard actually is. Now this should be one of the more relaxed ones. So let me try and sneak up a little bit closer. Oh, how's that stormy sky? Dramatic scenery. Let's see if we can sneak up a little bit closer on it, because then you can get an idea as to just how massive these birds are. Now, if my memory serves me, up to about 17 kilograms, the Kori bustard, which is over 35 pounds. Well over 35 pounds, actually. So it is a truly massive bird, and in theory, according to some biologists, but I think it's pretty well understood that it can, in theory, too heavy to fly. Hello, are you going to fly away if I come closer? You look like you've suddenly gone still. It's okay. The other day we actually saw one in full display mode on our way home one morning. Utterly gorgeous. They make a deep, booming, roaring sound, which I'll play for you in a little bit. So the same family as the bird that is calling off somewhere in the distance, a black-bellied bustard. This is just obviously the largest member of that particular family. How's that, I don't quite know what you'd call the neck feathers in the Kori bustard. It sort of looks like it's wearing a scarf in this windy weather. Come on. You can come closer to us. Truly underappreciated birds, I feel. Long legs, strong bill, and the ostrich, not to be outdone, every now and again sticks its head up above the horizon. Also, I always enjoy this with birds, the way that they walk like they're leading with their heads, and their heads are gripping onto something in the air and pulling them forward. Linda, I'm not sure of the etymology behind the word bustard. I should probably clarify, especially in my South African accent, because we all know that South Africans can't do vowels very well. Bustard, B-U-S-T-A-R-D. I had to check that for a second. Bustard. I don't know what the origins of that word is. I'd love to know. Let me see if I can find out for you quickly, because I've got it on my birding app. And I was going to play you the call anyway, so let me see if I can find out if there's any reference to it. And those of you who do know, those of you with the internet at your fingertips, if you could let me know what bustard, where the name bustard comes from, I would love to know. Hashtag Safari Live on Twitter. Haha. So while you watch him, I'll play you what the call sounds like. Oh, never mind, it doesn't have the call on this one. I know where it does have the call. Hold on. Might even have the etymology of bustard. No, it does not. That is what a Kori bustard sounds like. That's a territorial dispute. Now this one is going to go pretty quickly out of shot. I wonder if I roll backwards it'll let us stay quite close to it. I wonder if there's some connection between bustard and buzzard linguistically, you know, in terms of their origin. Orchestral fox, I'm going to try, what I'm actually trying for is a proper comparison to give you a demonstration as to just how tall the Kori bustard is. It is well over a meter. Is anyone around me? Doesn't look like it. Thinking about trying to screenshot myself once it walks out of the frame. I obviously can't do it. You'll have to do it for me. So let's try and do it. Just try and do it in the same way that we do with elephants. So let's find a good marker and a good shot, and then basically what I'm going to ask Jahawi to do, because I don't think he's ever had to do this before, what I'm going to ask Jahawi to do is memorize the frame when I say now, which is not yet, and then I will go and stand where the bustard is standing. So let's wait till he's in front of... No, don't go away, that's going to make life very difficult. Let's memorize where he is. Oh, you making life difficult, bustard. With a U. Hold on. There. Now. Okay, I'll go stand exactly where he was. I've memorized where he was. There you go. I'll just wait for him to move away so that I don't scare him. Chantal, I'm going to be out of comms for a little bit. And I will go and stand where he was standing. I want him to get a fright. Hold on. This is why I said, is there anyone around? I'm not sure if you actually managed to get the screenshots that you needed. I hope you did. If you didn't, you'll get a rough idea. I'm not chasing you, buddy. Don't worry. Don't worry. Moving slowly so you get a fright. So he is that about right, Howie? Forward. Here we go. Rough idea. Thank you very much. Appreciate my red sandals. Only size I have thick. Howie asked me earlier if I've ever tried water skiing in them. Others broke. Right. And now I'm going to slip back into the car and pretend that never happened. And carry on my way. So now, the process for our new viewers is essentially, the idea is to Photoshop me into that position so you get a comparison of size. And to give you an idea, I'm about 5'7", or just under 5'7". Hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, and thank you in advance. I don't think so, and I apologize, I'm going to get your name wrong. I think it's Pug Marker, but it might be Hat Maker. Marker, I got it. Hey, marvelous. Pug marker, I don't think Kori bustards are found anywhere else. I might be wrong about that. They might be found in the sort of Middle Eastern areas, but I'm not 100%. I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure. And I'm not going to tell you lies. I don't know. I will double check for you and find out. Okay, I feel as though we've spent enough time with the heaviest flying bird now. Let's send you over to Mr. Dyson with the heaviest land mammal.
Yes, the big heavies of the African wilderness, and a very peaceful herd of elephants. Seems to be 3 adults with their offspring, so quite a small herd. That one's probably a mother with 2 sets of her calves, I'm guessing. Obviously, the slightly bigger one being the older one, and the slightly smaller one being the newest, maybe about a year old. Difficult to be certain. And especially in this long grass, it may make it appear smaller than it actually is. Can't even really see that it's an elephant. I find it very soothing watching elephants slowly feed like this. They're very easy animals to just switch off and let your mind wander as they do their business. I also love the way she kind of ruffled all that vegetation against her hide to try and dislodge any loose debris from the roots. Let's see if she does it again. What they sometimes do is put the rooty section on the side of the mouth and then just bite it off like that. So that was a good example of her avoiding the mud by just chopping off the roots at the base. Hello, I didn't do it. You are very happy that we found these elephant alongside a little baby, and it's my greatest of pleasure. It was quite easy to find them. They were just on the side of the road, but I am glad we found them because there was a number of you that asked us to find elephant. Giraffe were also on the wish list. I haven't managed to succeed with those yet, but we have still got lots of time. You may have just heard a kind of a air being floated through a hole noise. That was an elephant flatulating. It's a good noise to be aware of, especially in thick areas, because sometimes you can hear them flatulate before you actually see them. Hello, Proud Cat Mama. You would like to know how often do elephants give birth, and it's about every 3 or 4 years, I'm told, as a general rule. And it kind of makes sense. After a 2-year gestation period, they can have a bit of a breather before having to worry about raising their next youngster. Their youngsters are also very dependent on them for quite a long period of time, much longer than most other herbivores, so this is another reason why they don't give birth yearly. But on average, every 3 to 4 years, I am told. Wonderful. Well, I think we're going to head on, leave these Ellies to continue gathering themselves some delicious snacks, and while we do that, we're going to be sending you to a very, very pretty bird with Byron.
I hope you're having a good afternoon in the Mara. Now, it looks like the rains that you guys are getting are approaching. But firstly, look at these beautiful Batelia. And I think this is the same pair that we've been seeing regularly down here on Juma, the male and female. They're a little bit further away from where that nest is we saw yesterday. But always wonderful to see these eagles perched up in the trees. And I think also with this cloudy weather, they've been less active. They've been perched a lot more often than we usually see them, flying around with that beautiful rocking motion of theirs. But as I said, very cloudy. The rain is approaching. You can see, look at that mist. Almost looks like mist in the distance. That's rain. It's busy coming this way. The drops are starting to increase, so we are going to have to rush back to camp to get our roof on. Otherwise, we're going to get very, very wet. The cameras are going to break, and they are going to shout at me. So we better start making our way back quickly. Try to get the roof on, and then we'll carry on. It's interesting how the weather's changed this afternoon. It was just overcast earlier, but now the rain. But now the rain is approaching us. Alright, well, we're going to go across to the Mara. I'm not sure, I didn't hear, who we're going to. But they've got elephant approaching Cheetah.
Well, yes, we're with the young elephant bull, who looks like he's just picked up the cheetah's scent. Or are you more interested in us, mister? You look like you're up to mischief. I saw him in the distance chasing wildebeest a little bit earlier. Hello. Are you in must? I can't see. No, you're not. You're just being very curious. So he is walking towards the cheetah, but he might not actually go to them. He might just wander past. He seems more interested in me than the cheetah. You can see the cheetah behind. Hello, mister. How are you doing? You have a tough day chasing wildebeest? They'll be gone soon, and all the grass will be yours. Yeah. Hey, big boy. So, youngster, probably around 20. Oh, yes, he's going to be very big and scary. Yes, I'm petrified of you, mister. I do love Ellies when they do this. Yes, you've shown me. You're the boss. What do you want? Don't try to sneak behind me. I'm watching you, mister. Oh, I'm watching you. Yes, beat a hasty retreat before I have to talk loudly at you. Now, Riti is wondering, do tusks rust with age? No, they don't, Riti. You can. Let me just move while he's walking away. They sometimes have the appearance of rusting, but it's not rust at all. It's actually stain from the reddish sap of certain trees that gives them that dark already color. So it's not rust at all, but it's actually just stained. Oh, look at that. There you can see Batman's shadow. Oh, he walked between us and the cheetah. I think if he had noticed the cheetah, he definitely would have chased them. But the wind was in the cheetah's favor this time, and he seemed a bit preoccupied with showing us how big and tough he is. Paula is wondering, why are some elephants different colors to others? Well, Paula, it's not so much that they're different colors, is that they possibly live in areas with different colored soils. Now, he is very dark today, but I'd say he's been rained on. That's why he's quite dark and not light grey. So we have had a lot of storms around during the day from about 1 o'clock this afternoon. And I think he's just been wet. Quite often when they are different colours, they're either wet or dry, or they've been bathing in different coloured mud. That is the reason for the different colours. They are not, however, actually different colours. And you can see one of those big storms in the background behind that eddy. Hello, Cat. Cat is wondering, how do elephants sleep? Well, very little is the actual answer, Cat. Cat, they have cat naps. Ha ha ha, I'm so clever. But yes, they doze more than sleep, and they actually sleep very, very little. And it'll generally be during the heat of the day or in the dead of the night. But it'll be in very, very small bits, not longer than sort of 4 or 5 minutes at a time. And they need to keep moving to keep that massive frame of theirs well fed. Swapna would like to know, have African elephants ever been domesticated? They have, not as successfully as Asian elephants. Now, there was a kingdom along the west coast of Africa. It was called he was called the King of Congo, even though his palace and his royal seat wasn't even in Congo. It's in modern day Angola, and there they used to use forest elephants that had been caught as babies for forestry. The Belgians in Belgian Congo, during a not a very nice time in Congo's history, they used forest elephants there. And they have been domesticated to a degree, never as fully as African elephants. As Asian elephants, though. And there's actually a very interesting stat about domesticated or tame African elephants, that every single one has killed at least one of their trainers, of the elephant bulls, that is. And in my opinion, the elephants are quite happy where they are. They don't need to be tamed or domesticated. As you can see, we had just a lovely encounter with that young bull. No threat from our side, no threat from his side. And there's a saying that I'm truly a believer in, which is, if you really love animals, you don't put them in cages or tame them. So leave wild animals to be wild. We have our domestic animals. And I know, speaking of, look at this bird flying in. Speaking of putting things in cages, probably one of the most cruel things in the world is to put any bird in a cage. Now, especially after seeing certain birds like the African grey parrot in its natural habitat in the Congo Basin rainforest, highly gregarious, highly intelligent, and highly social with other parrots. And to keep them by themselves with just us for company is a little bit selfish. It's only helping you. It's not actually helping the animal. Anyway, our cheetahs have gone flat again. They were walking up the hill, but they are having a snooze. I think what's going to happen gradually is that Malika and the boys are going to move up to the crest of the hill. You'll notice cheetahs, especially at night, they like to lie in high open areas where they've got a really good view around them, that they can see any potential threats coming close. Now, for these three, the closest potential threat is those 4 young male lions we saw a little bit earlier, but they are 2 valleys over, so still quite a long way away. Now, I think I'm going to leave the Malika and her boys, and I just wanted to come check with her so I have a good idea where to start my search early tomorrow morning. And I'm going to head up this ridge and try see if I can find that mystery male that was seen a little bit earlier today. But while we leave these luscious, lovely cheetahs, and let's go to the man who's got a lovely, luscious beard, Scott Dyson.
Thanks, Brent, for describing my beard as lush. It is quite lush at the moment. It probably needs a good mowing due to its lushness. We have stumbled upon more elephants, of which we will maybe be able to get some kind of semi-silhouetted views of. They're not really facing the right direction, or we're not facing the right direction, rather they can face whichever direction they like, but we're looking more to the southeast than the southwest, where there will be more colour. Hello, Hank. You would like to know if I've ever seen an elephant step on its trunk. And no, I haven't. Not yet. Baby elephants would probably be the most likely candidate to do such a stunt, but adults will have such incredible use of those 180,000 different muscle fascicles that make up their nose. Incredible tools. Imagine if we had a nose as effective as theirs. It would look quite strange, I guess. But a very useful tool for them to acquire their food. They can be very fussy creatures considering how big they are and how much they feed on. So that trunk allows them to pick and choose exactly what they want with quite incredible precision. The African elephant has the prehensile fingertip, so it could pick up something as small as a peanut, whereas the Indian elephant doesn't have those skills. It doesn't have a prehensile fingertip at the end of its trunk. Obviously easier feeding in the jungle environments. That doesn't have to be as precise. Beautiful. So I'm told Byron's going to go put on his rain covers. That's a new development since I was down in Juma. We never had rain covers in my era. What did we do if it started raining to keep dry? I can't remember. I think we may have just had a funny kind of tarpaulin that we would pull over our heads. Well, my mind has gone completely blank, but we must have had some kind of a plan. But happy that they do have some nice new rain covers there. I'm told they got them just after I left, just over a year ago. But now I'm back, which is wonderful, and enjoying all the improvements that were made while I was away, of which there are many. Lots of new improvements with the technology, the sound, the cameras. That blowing noise was me trying to clean some crisps out of my glasses. I was obviously eating quite messily, and I looked down at my sunnies and they were filled with crisps. But they're all gone now. You can see how my sunnies are hanging like this, acting like a perfect collector. And you'll probably notice they're quite greasy now. You see, that's chip grease right there, and my fingerprints where I smeared the chips off. Very good, very good. I remember having a sleep at this junction one night. We had been out all night. Myself and Manu, we had driven all the way to Kruger, a gate very far from here, to pick up Martin, one of our new tech guys. He had ended up on the wrong side of the reserve. So we made a kind of nocturnal mission to go and collect him and also see what migration action we could get along the way there. And I think it was the second time I ever slept on the roof of the vehicle. It was a new development back then. And where were we parked exactly? We were parked somewhere here, and I woke up in the middle of the night with my stomach rumbling. Not the kind of rumbling when you're hungry, the kind of rumbling when you're the opposite to hungry, when you've got some problems. And I found myself up on the roof now with an extreme urge to get down from the roof, which was a little bit tricky, and then try and find some of the necessary tools to do the business that I needed to do. And it was at that stage, I think it was like 5 o'clock in the morning. It was still pitch black. Had to be shining a flashlight around while I leant against one of the signboards and did damage to it, essentially. It wasn't a very fun time, but it's a happy memory of that road junction. Sorry if that's a bit of an overshare, but it is incredible how you do build memories in any wilderness area where you spend a decent amount of time. Road junctions, trees where you've seen a leopard, just an open area where you've had a fantastic sighting. So as you drive along, these kind of stories just refilter from the archives